Hey guys, Nerdy Perkins here, and today I've got a very special video for you. You might be able to kind of tell what I'm going for here by the layout and by maybe the video title. But let me just kind of go through my thinking here. So my friend group, like the guys I play D&D with, my roommates, my brother, they all play a lot of Magic, specifically Commander Magic. If you're familiar with that at all, you know that's generally played with 4 players, and it's kind of a free-for-all. But when this game was announced, the One Piece trading card game, I waited and I kind of, waited to see what the rules were. And once we kind of got a taste of how to play, at least on a basic level, I decided to start kind of thinking up and tinkering with the idea of a 2v2 version of the game. Just because, like I said, I do have a few friends who are both One Piece fans and card game fans, and I wanted to make maybe a little beefier version, maybe a little something that, more people can play at once, and that maybe has a little bit of a longer play session. And this is kind of my answer here. So, let me introduce you to the format that I am calling Pirates Alliance. So as you can see, we have our basic layout. We have 2 teams on either side. We have Kid and Luffy and Crocodile and Kaido on the other side. And honestly, it doesn't, just a little bit of tweaking, and I think I kind of have a viable format here. And it might be a little too early to say, but I'm having fun with it, and I just thought I'd share kind of what I'm looking at, and let people kind of take a look, play test, and see if they like what I'm doing, if they have any suggestions, that kind of thing. But yeah, basic breakdown. Each player has their own field. So, like the deck, your deck is your deck, your area is your area, your characters are your characters. But each player will have the normal 50 card deck, the 10 Dawn deck, and your leader card. And as I said, players control only their own space. The only really crossover is going to be life cards, and then a few other examples that I will explain in a little bit. Players on the other team are classified as opponent players, or as the opponent for cards. And then, like I said, your teammates don't, your teammate is not you. So if you have a card that says something about your characters, your leader, your deck, you cannot, that's not going to be usable for for things on your allies field. As you can see, after you've shuffled up, got your hand, and decided whether you want a mulligan or not, each team would thread their life counters like this. I got the idea from a Reddit post talking about a Digimon 2-on-2 2v2 match, and so I took their idea of how they do life with Digimon, kind of fused that. So you would just take the life count of either player and you would thread them together. But like I said, that is definitely something we would want to, we'll have to play with more when we get more variables. But if you did like the green red Luffy with this Kid, I would thread it the other way, where you would have, Kid, Luffy, Kid, Luffy, Kid, Luffy, Kid, until, like I said, you have all them set up. Then we get into turn order, and the way turn order would work is you would have player 1 will be on one, player A would be on one side, player B would be on the other side, player C, then D. So, for example, you would roll your die, and let's say that this is our results. We have Luffy with 6, then Kaido 4, then Kid 3, then Crocodile 1, and you would do top player. Basically, the player who rolls the highest is going to go first. The person on the opposite team who rolled the highest would go second, followed by the second person on team 1, followed by the second person on team 2. The next kind of bigger change would be that I think all players, even the first player, would do 2 Dawn. Just because the idea is that the game's going to go on a little longer. You have more players, so I don't think the extra Dawn was going to completely outweigh or completely make the battle uneven. The other option I could see there would be doing it where each first player on each side only does 1 Dawn. So it would be player A and player B would do 1 Dawn, and then player C, D would do 2. But like I said, I think honestly you just start with every player doing the even amount of Dawn, and I think it would probably balance itself out. This is one thing that definitely would need a little bit of play testing. And if you want to try this out and you have an opinion, you think you think one way is going to be better than the other, I would love to hear your thoughts, because like I said, this is one of the things where it's hard to decide exactly how to like balance that first turn. I think the way we do that is that player A, no matter what, will not draw a card like they normally do in the normal game. So like I said, we'll tweak it a little bit so they would draw 2 Dawn, but they don't draw a card, so that way they don't get the card advantage. Then the next rules we would need to kind of add or, kind of look at are going to be how combat's going to work. So I laid out a little example here. So when battling, the attacker is going to declare who they want to attack. So their options are going to be tapped characters on either side of the opponent's field, or either of the opponent's leaders. So next would be the blocking phase. I believe based off how the wording is on the blocking cards, at least at the moment, that if Kaido was attacking Kid, or if one of Kaido's cards was attacking Kid, Luffy would be able to use his Chopper card to block, because after an opponent declares an attack, you may rest this card to make it the new target of the attack. And this would be how you can kind of like divert the attacks over from, they choose to do one leader, and, if you have blockers on your side, you can choose to then use that blocker to negate that attack. Because like I said, it doesn't say anything about like, blocking for, you. It's actually more specifically about redirecting the target to this specifically. So I think even if you went for like a free-for-all format, you could have it where, if someone's trying to get in the good graces, or if some people are working together for the moment, they can, help each other out with blockers. But like I said, that's for another video and another time to discuss. But as I said, I think as it stands, you could theoretically block across the board. So if Kaido's attacking a Kid, you can tap your Chopper and have them jump in, and then all of a sudden, the attack is being directed towards Luffy's side. And then I also think that you would be able to play counters from either player's hand to buff up the character. So if you didn't want to use the Chopper, and between the two of you, you had enough counters to play to survive the attack, then you're good. And I think this honestly works because you're limiting the options for the whole entire team. Then when it comes to effect cards, you have those would only be playable, like let's say on the player who's defending specifically, because let's pop this up. It specifically states that your leader or one of your characters gains 2,000. So it's going to be specifically your characters and leaders on your side of the field. So you would not be able to play, say, this scalpel card to protect your allies' leader or characters. And like I said, I'm just trying to work with what the text of the cards say. And I honestly think that this works fairly well on a balancing level, because you're giving options for, your characters, your ally to redirect towards them if they want, and if they have a better defensive option. Like right now, in this situation, if Kaido's swinging towards Kid and Luffy has the better defensive option because he has this guard point or whatever, Kaido swings, or he can redirect with Chopper as a blocker, and then he taps, uses that, and uses some of those counters to help Chopper survive, and he redirects the attack, and it allows him to then use his ability or his effect card that he wouldn't be able to use to help defend Kid. Anyways, I do think I think it makes a good balance. I think it adds a layer of strategy as to who's swinging at who. You got to take a look at which blockers are on each side, who has the most Dawn. And I think I did a little play test with my friend, and it feels really, really fun. I think the way that I have it set up, gives the defenders kind of mutual options to help each other while also limiting their best cards to only be able to use for themselves. But we also just got a recent reveal of this card where we have a counter that doesn't have anything that says specifically that it's playable, on your player or on your cards. So I think like this crocodile card, if Kaido's being attacked on his side, I could totally see if Crocodile has the energy to use to play this card. I don't see why he wouldn't be able to. But that is another thing that would be up for discussion as to whether, maybe counter cards with effects can only be played when you're the one specifically defending. But the only reason I think, I was thinking that and doing it that way was because of the way the cards were worded. And as I said, this one seems like one that, your ally would be able to play if they have that extra Dawn, play it down, and maybe if they have that extra blocker or something that they can throw down, and that then interrupts the play. And I think that, like I said, if I were, to make a ruling on this card right now, I would say that this is the first counter effect card we've seen that would be playable, in response to your ally being attacked, without like blocking or doing something crazy like that. As I said, I've done a couple test games, and I think that with a setup like this, you can really start seeing the decks kind of synergizing, and it'll be fun to see kind of what works together and what doesn't. We'll obviously kind of see how that looks and how that works with the dual colored leaders. But with this, you can kind of see, like I was noticing when I played with my friend, that Kaido and Crocodile work super well together, because you have Crocodile who likes to stall, has a lot of blockers, has a lot of stuff that's going to interrupt your enemies and your opponent's moves to kind of stall them out and keep them from ripping through your life, while leaving time for Kaido to kind of build up and then start using his really heavy cards and using some of his really heavy effects to just start eating away at the opponent's life pool like super quickly. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts. If you have any suggestions, if you think that there's anything I kind of missed that would, that needs to be kind of ironed out. But honestly, I think, the basics of turn order, what kind of balancing you have for your first turns, and the combat are kind of the big three that I thought needed to be kind of tackled, and I think I kind of hit a good amount of points on all of those. But yeah, if you liked what you saw here, keep an eye out, because now that I've done this, along with the normal, kind of one-on-one gameplay, I might do a little test video with me and my friends doing a test of this format. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Give it a like, give it a subscribe, keep an eye out for more. And yeah, we'll see you guys next time.